Alright, what's up everybody? I just wanted to showcase my current PoE 2 build that I've been working on. It's a cast on crit Spark Bloodmage, and yeah, let's show you what some just randomly rolled maps look like. That's what we're using, and yeah, enjoy.
Will rise. Out of mana. Burn, burn, burn! You should have served me! Another corpse to serve.
Soon you will serve our master.
Yes, I shall dance with that corpse.
I shall watch. I shall feel your
Your cricket. Right for death.
neck to navel.
Be still!
From neck to navel!
Darkness, fire!
Throat!
Alright guys, so as you can see from all those map clips and then the boss kill at the end, this build's not too bad. These are some rare tier 15s, so yeah, clear speed's crazy. I think boss killing's okay. It could get a lot better. There's other ways of scaling this way higher. This is just the way I like to play this build and the way I wanted to build it. You can check out another YouTuber called Barricade, and he also has a build like this, but it's Spark, and it's not cast on critting, just raw damage. That thing can definitely push you to bossing, like the tier 4s, I'm pretty sure. This possibly could. I haven't pushed it that far, probably not gonna, don't know. Just gonna mess around some more and see. I have some other games that are coming up that I'm gonna be playing, so anyway, if you liked all that, please like and subscribe. That would really help out the channel, and let's get into the build. First off, I'm gonna go over some of the gear choices. I went with double seed of Cataclysm, trying to find corrupted with the most crit damage bonus and crit chances possible. And you're gonna want quality for caster modifiers, so it buffs those to the max. Then I wanted to do a Sacred Flame and Choir of the Storm setup, which as far as I can tell still works together, where critical hits ignore all resistances, since the lowest resistance will be lightning resist, and we're doing extra fire, cold, and lightning on all of our spells, even though we're only using mainly lightning spells with some cold infusion. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm using Frost Bomb is for the infusion. We don't actually need the exposure because of this stuff, I don't think. This is probably best in slot wand. I couldn't find anything better. This was only a couple div, so not too expensive. The rings you don't want to pay more than a div for. If they go up more than that, don't bother. Get the cheaper ones and just, you know, roll with that. You can always try to get more crit from your jewels and whatnot. I personally went with stacking armor on this character, so that's why the rares look like they do. I wanted to get as much armor as possible since we're going to be taking a lot of physical damage from sources, and we're life stacking, so I figured, you know, I might as well just go for armor and get that armor applies to elemental damage so that we take no elemental damage and barely any physical. However, it didn't work out like that. We still do take some physical, but I'm pretty sure that because of our resistances being capped and the elemental damage reduction against hits is 33, over 100% reduction, so, you know, that's gonna be quite a difference in damage you're taking. the gloves, I wanted crit damage bonus as the one offensive mod. Mana also counts as offensive in this build. However, I didn't hit a good mana roll. Definitely want to find something better like that. Our flasks, you're gonna want this to have increased charges to the max because of our ascendancy. We're taking Sanguine Tides, which we gain 1% of damage as physical damage for 3 seconds per charge consumed. And on hitting an enemy while a life flask is at full charges, 40% of the charges are consumed for this effect. So that's very strong on our build, and we don't care about the life recovery from our flasks because we have spell damage leached as life, and we recharge our life instead of energy shield since we don't have energy shield. I just figured that would be the best possible setup. This is our current passive tree, and we're gonna go over all these things in just a second. I'm gonna start with up here. You get this from Undying Hate Jewel in tribute to Techrod. The souls currently don't matter. If you could find a really good roll that like buffs a bunch of clusters for you, then go for it and take some of those clusters. They could be some crazy stuff. However, I don't have anything good to use for it, so I'm not. It was an expensive jewel. The main reason you want it is Sacrifice of Blood. We get life regeneration per life spent, well, per 8 life spent in the past 8 seconds, and we get more life cost of skills. And that's important because Arc has a very high life cost, and that'll help keep our life regenerating and recharging constantly, since we're combining Eternal Youth with this. It's a very interesting setup. You have to start slow, but you'll start to see it tick up a lot faster to where you won't even notice, see? And this is with low cast speed. You can get much higher cast speed on your setup and just be zooming. Your life will stay topped up forever. So once you hit a certain rhythm, your life regen is going to be way higher than your life total can get. If you can get higher cast speed, that is. See? We're almost higher than our life total. So, that's why we take this. The rest of the tree is like crit scaling, some life scaling here, Sanguimantic Rituals, and I'm trying to get Touch the Arcane for Arcane Surge to grant more life regen. It's very strong. This is the only meta skill in energy regen thing we have. And this is our only mana recovery currently. Besides using mana remnants. So, also we use boundless energy so we can just pop this spark constantly. Anyway, back to the passive tree. We're gonna go over the jewels real quick. You're looking for crit damage bonus and meta skills gain increased energy. It's kind of good. You could probably get better jewels though. That's just what I wanted, and I got that here for this stuff. And then over here we're using this type of jewel for crit chance, meta skills gain increased energy, and triggered spells deal increased damage. It's not super important, just decent. Same thing up here, I just needed more crit chance. That's the main thing. And then get other stuff that benefits your build. And then last but not least, up here we're using crit damage bonus. Faster start of energy shield recharge actually applies to Eternal Youth when you have it, so that's your life recharge as well. So faster start is very strong. That'll just keep your life up. But with life remnants, you don't need to worry about that too much. Plus we use cannibalism, so yeah. Alright. We get almost capped crit chance with this Sunder the Flesh passive. As you can see, without any crit support, we're almost crit capped. And then we're using Gore Spike to scale our life into crit damage bonus. We don't have a ton of life, but it's still quite a bit. And stacked on top of everything else, we are getting 500% crit damage bonus, so that's pretty good. Yeah, that's the passive tree so far at level 90. Let's go over our gem setup real quick. We're using life remnants with these remnant supports, clarity and cannibalism, just to keep our life and mana up. We get galvanic field from our wand, and you're really gonna want to look for a wand with this, because the more chance to shock is very helpful for damage, as well as getting this orb, which chains and crits as well, and that will proc your cast on crit more often. And with that, we're using Lightning Mastery, Ambrosia, Considered Casting, and Elemental Focus, since it can't shock anyways. Purity of Fire tech, same as my last build. You just throw in the most spirit cost supports that benefit you. Mysticism 2 does work if you have no energy shield, because that is now your max energy shield, so you're always on full energy shield at 0. Lightning Bolt, going with Overcharge so that it shocks harder. Commiserate, so that when we gain the shock from this, we pretty much instantly get rid of it for even more magnitude of shock. And those shocks spread, or have a 50% chance to spread. And then we just give it Zenith 2 for more damage, and we get mana recoup. Arc is our main damage because it has way more scaling than Spark, so I wanted to do something different than Barricade, but somewhat similar since he figured out some of the scaling. And I really like the Lightning Infused deals 200% more damage thing, so it just worked out that I use this instead. I'm going with Lightning Mastery. Atalui's Bloodletting is the main way we're getting a lot of damage scaling, and that works really well with Archmage because that does boost your life cost here. So if I turn that off, it goes down quite a bit, as you can see. So that pumped it up, and it gives you a lot of damage as extra as well. We're going with Heft because it's just a hefty damage multiplier for our physical damage that we're gaining here and in the passive tree from our Ascendancy. Considered Casting is just the highest more damage roll I could put, and Zenith is also the highest more damage multiplier I can put. And because this is costing only life, we always have this bonus when we hit an enemy with it. Now after the hit, when you crit and everything casts afterwards from your cast on crit, you might be below mana, so you want to wait until it recoups back, or your mana remnants pick up again and you're full again before you cast. That's how you keep your max damage multipliers. And that's also why I stay by my enemies when I fight bosses. That helps us get our life remnants and mana remnants back immediately. Frost Bomb we're using for mainly the cold remnant. However, I am also getting some exposure effect. I'm not sure if it's actually helping my DPS, but it's just something I put in. And then we went with Short Fuse for that less detonation time and cooldown recovery for, cooldown recovery. AoE is not important really if the exposure doesn't work, so just throwing that out there. Orb of Storms has Lightning Mastery, Considered Casting, of course, Zenith 2 as well. I'm using Extraction for just a ton of extra damage, and Execute just to get extra damage off of it, since we like to stand in it and then cast our other spells to hit enemies or bosses near us. Mana Tempest gives us a big damage buff. However, I'm not often using this because it also costs a ton of life per second. And as you can see, I pretty much kill myself if I use it. So it's only for certain boss fights and only when you know you're safe. You pop that, stay close so you can get your remnants and just hit as hard as you can. I like to walk out of it because the effects linger for 2 seconds, so I walk out of it after I cast it and then start attacking, so I don't continue to gain that negative effect of the drain. Alright, spirit skills. I'm using siphon elements so that we can gain lightning remnants and shocking enemies. This only really happens sometimes, but I do notice it while mapping, so I'm using cold mastery for no particular reason. I just didn't want to put another lightning mastery in. Harmonic remnants because I wanted the remnants to like be picked up from further away, and then remnant potency, so I'm not waiting for the remnant effect to take place, but I'm still gaining the increased effect even if it's smaller. I believe that just gives us a little more damage. Archmage, we just use lightning mastery, bunch of damage there. Even if you're not mana scaling too much, you should end up with around 1,000, and that's quite a bit of damage from this. That's at least, what, 40% damage is extra lightning damage, so... Plus you get the additional cost of skills, which helps your Atalui's bloodletting deal more damage, so it's a win-win. Cast on critical, I like to use Spark for the big, like, puke of lightning spells that you see every now and then while I'm mapping. Arc really triggers this quite a lot, and it just looks amazing. And with that, we're using our usual Zenith 2 and considered casting with lightning mastery. And then mana remnants. I like the huge increased effect with the occurring 3 seconds after being collected. Kinda works to your benefit because you want it collecting around here and not like up here when you don't really need it. You know what I mean? So you'll see how that makes sense if you switch this out for a number 1 instead of a 3. You'll see the differences in your mana recovery. These don't really matter, this is just what I'm using so that I'm not taking bleed or poison or freezes. And I think that's everything. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Let me know what you think. Sorry to not have done like a Citadel or whatever. I just felt like doing a hard boss and showcasing what this can do in maps. It's not super crazy on boss fights, and I'm sure, like I said, Barricade's setup over on his YouTube channel should get you through those if you really want to switch over and do all that. I just like this setup and wanted to share it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go edit this and get it out for you. Then I'm gonna go hang out with family later. See you guys in a few days. Got a different build cooking up soon for a different game. Thanks for watching.